We are by MITZVAH, Shabbos, Selichot. A few hours we're going to go and we're going to start Selichot. We have it the easiest this year. The Sephardim have been going all month. The Kaisel, by the way, is incredible. How every single day in the morning, Kaisel or Selichot. Anyway, so there's a very big lesson in this story for how we should approach Selichot. The Belz Rebbe, the first Belz Rebbe, Shalom of Belz, Shalom, yeah. One Motzei Shabbos Selichos, instead of going to shul, he tells his shamish to get the horse and buggy ready. They're going to go into the forest. So the shamish, his knee-jerk reaction was to say, Rebbe, we have Chassidim. All of your Chassidim are waiting in the Beis Medrash for you to come. But obviously he knows the Rebbe says, you do what the Rebbe says. So they go, and the Belz Rebbe tells the shamish to stop by they come to a certain home that had light in it, and he signals quietly to the shamish that he should wait where he is, and he goes by himself to the window to look inside the window. And the Belz Rebbe sees that there's an old Yid sitting there. On one hand of the table, there's one cup of mashke, and he has one cup of mashke. He's saying words, but the Belz Rebbe doesn't hear what he's saying. And he sees it, he says, L'chaim, 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 everybody. So he says L'chaim, takes the one that's supposedly for the one he's talking to, and he drinks that L'chaim also, and he does it 3 times. I can't go that many times. And then the Belz Rebbe gets back into the wagon, and they go back to the Beis Medrash. By then, the Chassidim are already wondering where the Rebbe is. And when the Rebbe comes in, everyone joins in, and they say the Selichos. Now, at the end of Selichos, the Belz Rebbe calls the shamish and says, there's an old man who came into shul after everybody else. He's for sure going to finish Selichos after everybody else. That's the man whose window I look through. Make sure that you call him to come speak to me once he's finished. So, a little while later, when he's finished, when this old man is finished, he comes from the Belz Rebbe. He's shaking with fear, doesn't know what the Rebbe wants to talk to him about. And the Belz Rebbe tells him, Rabbi Yid, let's just call him Rabbi Yankel, yeah? Rabbi Yankel, what were you doing? Who were you saying l'chaim with? You drank 2 l'chaim, like what's going on? He describes to this man what he was doing, and the old Rabbi Yankel's like, Rebbe, how do you know about that? He was all, embarrassed. And he says, I'll tell you the truth. I sensed that something big was going to happen, and it led me to your home. I looked through the window and I saw what you did. And Rabbi Yankel's like, I understand, I'm a nobody. What you came to my window? And he was very confused. But he realized that the Rebbe asked him to tell him. He couldn't keep quiet, so he told him, this is what happened. Many years already that my wife passed away. I live alone. I never had children. And all I have now is, all I had was a cow. All I had was my cow, and so my animals that I had that I made parnasa from. But a few months ago, my cow became sick. So I davened to Hashem and I said, Hashem is in charge of the whole world. What's a big deal for him to heal one cow? He can do everything to heal the cow. But he only got sicker, and I told Hashem, I said, if you don't heal my cow and you're in charge of everything, what's the big deal for you to heal a cow? I am going to stop going to shul. And the cow died. So I stopped going to shul. So Hashem didn't care enough to heal my cow. He's a kol yachal, he's in charge of the whole world. I'm not going to shul. Then my goat got sick. So I told God, hey, you think I'm bluffing? I'm going to stop putting on tefillin. My goat died. So I stopped putting on tefillin. And then my chickens, also, the same thing happened, and I told Hashem, if you take my chickens, I'm going to stop making kiddush, I'm going to stop keeping Shabbos. And that's what happened. And so I stopped keeping Shabbos. And I held out for a week, but then I realized that it's time for Selichos. And I told myself, Yankel, you're not going to go to the Rebbe for Selichos. I have to go to the Rebbe for Selichos, but I'm angry at Hashem. And I told Hashem that I'm not going to do Selichos, that I'm not going to go to shul, and I'm not keeping Shabbos, and I'm not putting on tefillin. But then I remembered that my neighbor once, the butcher, we had let's say Shlomo the butcher, yeah? We had a fight, and we didn't speak for a month, but then one night he came over to me with a bottle of mashke, and he said, Rabbi Yankel, we have enough enemies amongst the nations. Why should we fight? Come, let's drink and let's make up. And we made l'chaim 3 times, and we danced. So I said, I'll do the same thing with Hashem. I poured l'chaim for the Eibishter, for Hashem and myself. And I said, Hashem, I'm going to forget about your faults. You're going to forget about my faults. Let's start over. And I drank l'chaim, and because Hashem doesn't drink, Hashem is abstaining, so I understood that Hashem would want me to drink for him, so I drank his l'chaim. And then I danced around with Hashem, and I was ready to come for Slichos. And the Belz Rebbe looks in Rabbi Yankel's eyes, and he says, you should know, Rabbi Yankel, that there was a kitrug, there was a decree, yeah. They weren't very happy in heaven with the fact that even though Chassidim are saying the words of Slichos, they're not saying it with feeling. They're not saying, and of course, there's many things going on in their lives. It's a very busy time, and there's many excuses. There's distractions. Still, they didn't say it. So this decree existed. But you, Rabbi Yankel, you spoke to Hashem like a friend. You spoke to Hashem with true sincerity, and that was Mavatal Gzeira. So this is a beautiful, beautiful story, and it's also a little counterintuitive. You think all the Chassidim are doing the right thing, they're mumbling the words, okay, but they're doing the right thing. What's the big deal, right? This guy was Machal Shabbos. He stopped doing mitzvahs, but he spoke to the Eibishter from the depth of his heart. So like it says, right, Rachman Ali Baboy, the Eibishter wants the hearts. When we go to Slichos tonight in general, when we approach davening, we approach anything with God. Sometimes, of course, we have to keep mitzvahs, but sometimes, always, what we have to remember is that Pashit, approach God sincerely. It's not lip service. So we should approach Slichos, the right way, and we should approach Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot and Simchas Torah with a full heart, and we should see Mashiach now. And we should spend this Simchas Torah much before already with the hostages and with all the people who gave their lives already with Mashiach right now.